Hello and welcome to the Orca Pod. Oh, God damn it. Hello and welcome to the Orca Pod. Here I am. I'm looking professional once again. I have just come from a Christmas drinks situation. This is the difficulty of being a fancy lawyer and trying to manage the Christmas rush of social activities and this podcast. But I do it because I am a man of the people. And of course, tonight we are joined by the ultimate man of the people. Eden will be joining us soon. Now, our structure moving forward is for this tea party after a finale of an LRG to have the fabulous Annabel come on and do a coverage with the final four other than the winner. And obviously I did the deep dive with Bethany last week. Now, I've reached out to those four. Those four. And the situation is they're not super interested in being on here. Pauline accepted. Pauline has extenuating circumstances. If she can join, she will. If she can't, she can't. But we love you, Pauline. You're amazing. Ed, Oscar, if you're watching this, if you want to jump in, you're more than welcome. But you know what? I don't care. I'm so excited to be putting together a one-on-one interview tonight with the fabulous Annabel and perhaps one of her largest Twitter stands going back 3 or 4 years, Eden, the people's champion, the king of the LRG Wikipedia. I can see him in the green room. He's so excited. Let me first bring in Annabel. Welcome. Thank you for rushing to be here. We value you always.
Oh my God. Hey. And look, I don't want to out our one and only guest, the one person who didn't personally reject me tonight. But I went to reach out to Eden on Twitter just now because I couldn't get Facebook to load. And even though I know it's not a false memory that Eden and I have been Twitter friends for not 3 or 4 years, CK. It's been more like 10 years.
10 years?
Eden
Eden 4 years old at this point? Like, what is
following
going on?
me on Twitter. So we're going to be kicking off the tea party with a confrontation. So jump on, Eden. Jump on.
Okay, I'm out. Goodbye. I will leave you to it.
Wow.
Hi, Annabelle. I have a very good reason for having unfollowed you.
Okay, I'd love to hear it because, like, obviously we are social media soulmates, obsessed with you, thrilled, and I've been like pumping you up all season, Eden. And this was just like a very poorly timed moment of rejection for me.
I think you're going to accept my reason. So I applied for Real Australian Survivor this year, and I was making it through the process, and I got far enough into the process to think, holy shit, who else do I know? Who else are they going to, like, who else could conceivably be on this show that they're going to think, like, I know. Anyway, I didn't get on the show, but I did unfollow you on Twitter because I'm like, what if they see that connection and then they don't cast me because they want the Traitors Queen?
Beautiful of you and very moving and very touching. You can safely follow me because I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming you're across the basic fitness criteria. CK, we can't hear you. Anyway, I am not.
There's echo. We're going to do with this echo. I think it's coming through Eden's microphone.
Is it my issue?
No, it's Eden. It's the people's
issue. My earplugs aren't working. That's why I look like I'm holding in a fart.
Does it sound good now?
Wonderful. I'm out. Goodbye.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. No. All right. We're still in love. That's fine, everyone. We wanted to kick off the tea party with some tea. All right. Light of my life. You have been just phenom. And it's not just been my head that you've been living rent-free in this season. Nobody seemed more obsessed with you than the straight guys. Like, you come on in, you're like, yeah, don't really want to work with them, not really my cup of tea. Every single damn moment, they're like, yeah, but are you guys thinking about Eden? Because, like, I can't stop thinking about Eden. What was going on there?
I don't know. They were just on me from day one. From moment one, John decided that he wanted to target me. He has that confession. Was like, "Oh, I've connected with most of the tribe. There's just one fellow I haven't really bonded with yet."
He's a little, and he's like, so's everybody else, John.
Exactly. It's Survivor. We're all. But yeah, he had it out for me, and I think from that moment, my name was just always out there. It was always the men being like, "Let's get this guy out," and I always had the women defending me, which was nice.
You really did. There were so many moments where someone like Ed would be like, "Okay, but his perfect hair, his perfect smile, his perfect eyes." And then he's just so threatening. And like Lauren would be like, "Are we talking about the same guy? Like, what?"
That was so funny. And I actually think Lauren genuinely believed it. I don't think Lauren did perceive me as a threat, which was very fun. But I was appreciated. It was Lauren was helping, Bethany was helping, Anthea and Maddie did such good work in that first round when I had my back against the wall. I really couldn't have done it without my allies.
Yeah, you were the people's champion, of course. Hi, Ben. We love you, Benjamin. So, okay, like let's go back to there. So what is it about you? What energy are you putting into the world, do you think, that's giving, like, because there's so many different people there. You've got these big muscly guys like Ed, you've got people who were frankly being a lot more aggressive with their strategy. What energy are you putting out into the world which says sneaky, sneaky?
I think that I came into this with the mindset of you've got one day. I didn't anticipate that I would make day two. So I thought you've got one day to have fun, to have a good time, enjoy your experience, and play a game that you were proud of. So from the first minute of the first episode, I was there to play hard. I was there to do everything I wanted to do. Um, and I think that energy did seep through. I think people looked at me and they're like, this guy's very clearly scheming. I wasn't subtle about it. And I didn't want to be, because what if you're voted out really early and then you have nothing to show? I at least wanted something to show if that was the case.
I felt like you weren't the only one, though. This was such an immaculate cast. Everyone, well, not everyone, but most people were there to go, 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 go. When did you kind of pick up that you were surrounded by other people who were taking this quite seriously and willing to give it their all?
Oh, I mean, part of it was in that very first episode when the votes came up and I'm seeing this name, this Aiden, who I didn't know was getting votes. And I'm like, oh, people are playing. People are playing from the start. And that made me really happy. I was like, it's so exciting. It's so fun. I think the real turning point for me was that moment when we flipped and voted out John in the pre-merge, because that was really Loz saying, no, 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 I'm playing the game on my terms and doing what I want to do. And I really respected her for that. And I think that was like lightning.
That was really good. And we're totally going to get there. I just feel like I had other stuff I wanted to get to first. In my mind, you would probably be across LRGs in the LRG space. Am I incorrect in thinking that?
You're half correct. So
did you recognize Andrew? That's what I want to know.
So the real answer is no. I had no idea who Andrew was. I had seen the most recent version of everything that was out. So that was Survivor Canberra Season 1, Melbourne Warrandyte, and Backyard Season 4. I hadn't seen Andrew's season. I just saw him. He said he's an economist, and I thought, you can't trust an economist. That's shady. So from like the get-go, I just saw his energy, I saw his brain, and I'm like, I don't want that in the game.
He's the epitome of just gives that energy. Did he know you're an economist, or were you just making economist gags at each other coincidentally?
I think he knew. I don't know. We all introduced ourselves in that like front lineup thing.
Yeah.
I think he did know, because he told me that if I'd been at the final tribal, he would have asked me an economics question.
That's, oh my God, he is the absolute most. I love.
Oh yeah, this is the Playing with Fire Fuego buff. I just wanted to shout out to the iconic Trainwreck tribe that put all my favorites on one tribe, thanks Laurel, and then slaughtered them one by one.
Yeah, that was a really toxic. Thank you for, I mean, I had actually, I love that you picked that up, CK, because I saw the red buff and then I chose to unperceive it.
All your favorites? What the fuck, Eden? Just because I'm a straight man, I still could be your favorite. Anyway, I'm out.
You can't be anyone's favorite, CK. I love you, but you were the villain. That was a love to hate situation at best for you, CK. Okay, so this whole, like, was it it wasn't the pre-merge where you got rid of John with Loz. Was that the swap tribe? Oh my gosh.
That was the swap tribe, yeah.
Okay, so I did want to talk about that because that's when I was like very into this and binge watching everything because I had to do those episodes and it was great. And I was like, wow, this is actually good. So what I really thought was interesting there was like that move only happens because you were determined you weren't going to throw your ally under the bus. Why were you so gung-ho on sticking together? Because that's not what happened on the other tribe.
No, I think something I've seen from years of watching the real show and then also watching these LRGs playing online is that in every single season, always, the women go out early, one by one by one. And there's all these excuses. I've even been a part of it in online games. There's all these excuses that we give and it's just like, oh, she's like probably weaker or she's schema or blah, blah, blah. But it's beyond a pattern at this point. It is just statistically, that's just what happens. And I came into this game determined that that was not going to be what happened. I was not going to let that pattern continue. And then it had continued, despite the fact that I didn't want it to continue. And I'd lost Anthea and I'd lost Maddie, and I was really upset. And I'm just like, I'm not losing Bethany. I would prefer that it's me who goes home at this moment than lose Bethany.
Oh. If you're trying to seduce me right now, it's working. I'm not gonna lie. It was amazing. And we ended up with like one of the best LRG winners. She was phenomenal, like played such a game. So we love. Okay. Vibes though on that tribe, because that swap tribe was everything to me. Talk to me about Hot Toddy's vibe, because if people weren't obsessed, once we got to the merge, everyone's looking at Hot Toddy and I'm like, yeah, okay, he's going around trying to be everyone's best friend, but he's not that like out there. Why was Hot Toddy seen as such a threat?
Is that John?
No, Todd.
Todd, you were saying Totty, and I'm like,
oh, sorry, like Hot Toddy, like the drink, Hot Toddy.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay,
yeah.
So, now I think Todd is very smart, very intelligent. I didn't see him as that apex threat. I saw that as Loz, and my perception never changed. I did, however, know he was smart. He won 2 challenges, so I knew he wasn't in my plans long term. But when that name came out at the final 8 and people were like, we should get rid of Todd, was I going to sit there and go, no, it has to be Loz? Not really. I was fine with it being Todd. He was probably going to be my next target anyway.
Yeah, okay. Love that. Also, like, what's he like? You know, what's Todd's vibe?
Todd's funny. He's actually like, he makes all these really clever quips all the time, and sometimes it takes me a second to catch them. I think he's pretty much like what you see on screen. He was playing that smart game. He was playing that strategic game. But I think he just got before he got me.
Yeah, okay. All right, love that. All right, rewinding to other people's vibes. John, like, what an icon. Am I right? I had the pleasure of being on during his exit interview. Didn't really seem to gel with the women. I did ask him about that. He said, no, he totes gelled with the women. You know, it was you who hates straight men. I would argue they hate you. What was going... So I'm hoping I can get like a clearer answer from you, because this is the tea party. Why was John to the straight women and also the gay women what you were to the straight men? Like, they didn't seem to want to work with him and he was not a vibe. What was going on there?
Well, I think I'll start with the men targeting because I think that got blown a bit out of proportion. In my like preseason interview, yeah, I said a soundbite that was fun and flashy,
Yeah.
but I didn't necessarily mean that I was going to vote out every man I saw in chronological order. And that's not what I ended up doing on the show. It was more
No.
about making sure the pattern of women always going home and being underestimated stopped, which I anyway failed to help achieve.
Yes.
But with John, I think the first fact was that that alliance was made with 3 women and me, and he was just on the other side of that. So already he's got an antagonistic vibe with Bethany, Anthea, and Maddie, just from being locked out of the vote and not knowing it was happening. He got on really well with Squin.
Yeah, he did.
And yeah. And then
he
we
had
switched
one
tribes.
woman who didn't hate him. Yeah.
Exactly. We switched tribes, and I think Loz really saw. I don't know if Loz hated John at the moment she voted him out, but I think what she saw was that me and Bethany would be more valuable minions, whereas if John stayed, she's relegated to a lower rung on the totem pole in her alliance.
Like Bethany really hated him though. She went on like a 30-second spiel. They did like a whole montage of Bethany hating him, and
I think Bethany and John didn't get on in the game. I think, well, clearly.
Yeah.
But
hot take, guys.
Hot take, guys. They didn't love each other. I think Bethany was just frustrated with the day in general. I think she had the same mindset as me. That was like, we want the women to survive. We have this beautiful all women and me alliance, and then John had to stuff it up. Even though, yeah, that's the best move for his game, but he had to stuff it up. Why did he have to ruin everything? And I think that was just Bethany's frustration.
Yes. So when you're okay, so we have like the most iconic move ever. You manage to get Loz on side. You get rid of John there. Then you go into the merge. I'm saying this out loud just so I can remind myself, because today everyone is Marg and Marg Monday. That's half price margaritas, half price margaritas. So I had a couple. And and so we go into the merge. All right. So now it's basically you and Bethany. There's not a lot going on from your starting tribe, except that John comes back into the game. Except you get him out again. Love you, John. I'm just saying for you from Eden's perspective. How are you gauging like who the threats are from the other tribe? Because it seemed to really be the Oscar versus Andrew of it all.
Good question. So from like, I think I said, from the moment Andrew opened his mouth, it was like, all right, you talk too much, you have too much going on in your brain, and you need to go. So I came into that merge really wanting to eliminate Andrew, number one. The other 3 I hadn't met, and that was Sabrina, Oscar, and Pauline. And I got very similar vibes from all 3 of them. They all seem really intelligent. They all seem pretty sociable and pretty capable. And I knew that the people I was with, the Loz, the Todd, the Ed, they were big physical threats. Loz was running the game, and I couldn't go to the end with them. So I wanted a way to work with Sabrina, Oscar, and Pauline. But I knew that if I just flipped to them, I'm the 4th place voted out. So I needed a way for them to want to take me to the end. And I looked at them, I thought, Oscar is the youngest person in the game. And Pauline had been intentionally hiding herself, making herself appear meeker and smaller and less threatening. And Sabrina was really good in the challenges. And so that elevated her, that sort of put them on a lower level, and it made it so that I was able to throw out Sabrina's name. And that's why Todd, Ed, and Loz voted for it the final 8. I was actually the one to suggest that they switch the vote from Oscar to Sabrina to put more of a target on her back.
Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, because like I feel like I didn't get much of a vibe for Sabrina watching the show. Like I'm watching it and she seemed great and whatever, but her and Pauline did seem to be trying to fly a little bit more under the radar. And in the few interactions we did see with Sabrina and, other people coming in, she seemed quite quick to shut down strat chats from other people, like who weren't in her alliance. Did that factor in at all to you choosing her over, say, an Oscar or a Pauline, or no?
It didn't factor into me choosing her over Oscar and Pauline. I would say there was 2 other factors. One was the people that chose to stay overnight, because you didn't have to camp overnight. You could go back home. Oscar and Pauline both camped overnight, and we didn't talk any strategy, but you talked social and you got to know them, and I felt like I knew them better than I knew Sab. And I mean, that's the trade-off. The people that stayed at camp developed more social bonds. Bethany was one of them as well. But the people that went home, quite a few of them, Ed, Todd, Sabrina, won a lot of challenges.
Imagine choosing to go home in that scenario.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to Todd and Sabrina, they have kids. I don't know what
Ed
was doing.
T. Yeah. That's absolutely wild. Okay, this is time where I need to do a full confession. I had full intent on coming home watching those last few episodes on double speed, but it was Marg and Marg Mondays. My phone died and I got carried away. So I am going to watch them because I have genuinely enjoyed this season, but I need you to give me those kind of little tidbits on the last few episodes. So, okay. So we have this totally crazy thing where people are given the choice between staying or going. Did they show that on the episode? No. Oh my gosh, that's wild. Okay. So you stayed there and you camped together. Did you have a tarp and stuff? Like, what was the setup?
There was this little shack that people stayed in. I didn't actually think I was making a second day. I didn't have anything. I had a sleeping bag, but I was on the floor with that sleeping bag. It was very painful. And the whole night, I woke up first out of everyone, and I went on a long walk around just after dawn, pacing, and I was just kept up thinking about what I was going to do, because at that point, I still had that advantage, the defector advantage.
Yeah.
And it had to be played at the merge vote. And so this is how I saw the game. I thought there was my group of 5, me, Loz, Ed, Todd, and Bethany.
Yeah.
We've just voted out John, so he's going to go to the others. He's got Aiden over there, and he's got Oscar, Andrew, Pauline, and Sabrina. So I thought we're entering the merge on a deficit. They've got 6, we've got 5. So the whole time I'm just sitting there thinking, how can I use this advantage to send one of them out at Tribal Council and force a 5-5 rock draw? That's all I was thinking about. I was thinking about who's most likely to flip to our side and give us the numbers. If there was a rock draw, who's least likely to draw a rock for someone else. All of those things were passing through my head. And then we get to after the challenge strategy, and then Loz goes, "It's okay, no one's voting for you, Ed, and I've convinced them not to do it." I was like, damn it.
Love that. Well, little did you know that Aiden was going to vote himself out by refusing to vote for John.
It's true. I had no idea that was happening.
That's amazing. Okay.
So props to them. But that's where my head was at.
Oh no, is that my internet? So who chose? This probably is my internet. Can someone in the chat let me know?
No, I think it's Ed's internet. Wait for him to unfreeze and come back. Do you need me to give you a rundown?
Yeah, can you give me the cliff notes in the last few episodes?
What was the last thing you watched, Annabel?
I can't remember. John went. It was becoming Andy. Andy went. I saw that.
Remove this one. Oops, remove that. He's back. Can I just bring up Caitlin? You know, Caitlin, our biggest fans from Melbourne Survivor 3, has never
Caitlin
watched this show. Never watched this show. And here she is, celebrating the where is she? I've got her the post here. This is so good. Where is it? The buff. She's celebrating the red Flago buff.
Yeah.
That's how much she loves Eden. She doesn't like us very much, but she's here because
we all stand Eden. Only Eden could bring us all together.
Bring you
Can
and I
Eden fly to Syria and make sure they don't enter another 10-year civil war?
Caitlin rocked you out. I threatened her against a wall. Only Eden can bring us back.
I know. It's beautiful.
I'm out.
Hi. Sorry. My computer Wi-Fi is just notoriously bad. So I'll do the rest of it.
So your head, that's where your head's at. You're overthinking, but then no one else is thinking, so you were fine. So who did have the cuddly sleepover?
Me, Bethany, Oscar, Pauline, and Lauren were in the shed.
Yeah.
John and Aiden were also there, but John was in a camper van. He actually told me, this is my son's camper van. Little did I know his son is Nick.
Wild.
Nick before the game. So after I was voted out, I found out John was his dad, and I was And then Aiden also slept in a tent outside. I think Sabrina, Todd, who else is there? Sabrina, Todd, Ed, and Andrew went home. Oh, maybe Andrew stayed. No, I think Andrew went home.
So you're telling me that, okay, so first of all, people went home, which was just absolutely wild, but also some of them are parents, which was also their choice. Then you're telling me that Aiden and John stayed, and instead of using that as an opportunity to bond with you, went off and hung out by themselves?
I think Aiden, I knew, was very, very tired. I think he told us that he got like a few hours sleep the night before, not a lot. So I think he just crashed. John, yeah. I don't think that people thought too like much about the fact that if we're all sleeping together, we're all gelling.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
Okay. You know what, Andrew? I expected better from you. Okay, all right, stunning. So then we go in, then we have the hot mess. Then we have John goes after that. Andrew loses the war to Oscar. So I'm watching the show and I'm like, you know what? Oscar's throwing some ideas out there. Love that for him. He's trying to like set himself up as a bit of a power player. That was not the perception of the people who were playing the game. So how was he coming across to the rest of you? How is that not translating? Was it the youth or what?
It could have been the youth. I think the youth was it for some people who were just like, oh, he's young. All he wants to do is play a flashy game. He doesn't care about like if it's good gameplay. That's not how I felt. For me, I just thought Oscar, and I also saw Pauline and Sab this way. I thought that they hadn't done too much in the first section of the game. I'd heard Amy was a unanimous vote, and I was just like, great, unanimous vote on a woman, how standard. And then I heard that they'd voted out the other two women on the swap tribe, and I was like, okay, it seems like very basic, very simple survivor strategy on day one. And just then
vote out all the women, which Eden doesn't respect.
No. And then after we got to the merge vote and they didn't take out a member of our numbers, they took out a member of their numbers, I was just like, I don't think they had a very strong early game at all. And that was why I thought Oscar was someone I could beat. I didn't really care what he did. I thought I needed to sit next to him, and Pauline as well. I kind of saw their games similarly.
So everyone wanted to go to the end with Pauline and Oscar. Is that's the go?
I think so. I think
and
I
maybe
think
Ed.
Bethany did.
Okay.
Yeah, so people had differing perceptions of Ed, and I wasn't sure what to think of him, because on one hand he didn't know the game very well, so he hadn't made like amazingly strategic decisions, but on the other hand, he was such a nice guy to be around. Everyone liked him. He did so well in the challenges, and he did really well in the game not knowing it. So you don't really know how a jury is going to react to that. That could be a unanimous win, or that could be a 0-vote finalist.
Yeah, like I love you, Derek. Who doesn't love a himbo, you know? And he was serving. Also, like, what do you call those muscles on the front of your legs? Those
like quads?
They're your quads. He had like quads of a Greek god. Was it one of the challenges where I was like, oh my God, what is going on there? Incredible. You've got to give a vote just for the quads.
You do. Except I didn't. But
except they didn't, you know. Anyway, I wouldn't know because that's where I need you to give me the clip notes.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure the last episode I watched, Andy went out.
Missed a lot.
Yeah, I've got a lot of catching up to do. Like, honestly, it wasn't me being shady. It's been like the most manic few weeks of my life. So talk me through what's happening after that. So we've just voted out Andrew. Is this where we start targeting Hot Toddy?
Yes. So Oscar had been targeting him the whole merge, but he'd failed to do so in the first 2 votes of the merge. Then we get to the final 8. The Ed and Loz and Bethany and me and Todd are meant to stay as a 5, leaving Oscar, Pauline, Sabrina on the outs. But firstly, Todd didn't think that was happening. Todd thought that it was still Canberra versus the world. So he wanted to split the votes on me and Bethany. Nobody else really thought that. Yeah.
Todd, what was going on?
I think he thought because he'd been with Oscar, Pauline, and Sabrina for that split tribal, he thought that they were a group, but they didn't see it that way.
Oh, that's right. We had the split tribal.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. This is all flooding back to me
No,
right now.
that's okay. It's committed to memory.
Yeah, of course. So he thinks he's with him and he's coming for you. Again, straight men, they're obsessed.
But it doesn't matter because I wanted to flip to the trio of Oscar, Pauline, Sabrina anyway, and vote out one of the power players with them. Bethany joins us, but she's not really sure. She's heard conflicting things about the vote. She's heard that we might be targeted. She's heard Todd's name. The other three vote for Sabrina. So she's not sure where it sits. Her vote was live at Tribal, and she was kind of like, guys, you need to pitch to me and tell me what's going on and where to vote, because I don't know where to vote. And eventually she decided in the voting booth to vote out Todd, and he went home 5 votes to 3.
So she wasn't just going to do whatever you did.
No, and that was something interesting, is that Bethany and I have both played like these minis, these like online games that last like a second. You kind of know that there's no point in talking to someone that you're solid with for that long. The more fruitful conversations are the people that you don't know that well. So Bethany and I,
minis?
Sorry?
Are we talking about the Brendan Pratt minis?
No, I was talking about the Equilibrium minis.
Well, I won a Pratty mini, so I just dropped into.
That's fun.
Go away, CK. No one cares about your Pratty mini.
I've never had the honor.
Anyway, so no comment. So okay, we're playing the Equilibrium minis, and so did you know her from the Equilibrium minis?
Yeah, so I knew who Bethany and I had never had a conversation before, but I knew who she was. She knew who I was. I'd hosted her in an org, but I'd never interacted with her because she was the first boot. Outcast.
Oh, no way. She was from Outcast? Okay.
Yeah, she was the first boot because it was a weird situation where people clocked that she was playing really well and decided to do a blindside. Anyway, so we knew who each other were. I had gone into the game with the mentality that if Bethany was there, I would vote her out very quickly. It was something that I wanted to do. I even told Dan that that's what I would do.
She played so well. She was first boot. She's a huge threat.
I just knew that she was clever. I'd seen her in action, and I was like, I don't need to let this happen. But props to her is that we came in, I just liked her. She just gave off such a great energy that I was able to like her and let my guard down and work with her.
Okay, exclusive for the podcast. No one's listening. Did you and Bethany scissor?
I can't confirm or deny.
Sorry. Oh my god, they did. Okay, so you're ride or dies, but you're not necessarily like checking in constantly, or like what's the go at this point?
I think the first round where we really didn't talk was the round John was voted out the first time. Like we had maybe 5 seconds of like, you should tell Ross to vote for John. We really knew that we needed to separate and spend our time convincing everyone, and that there was no fruitful conversation together. Yeah. And we kept doing that throughout the merge.
That's so interesting. So she didn't just go, Eden, who are you voting for? Like she didn't want to, it wasn't important to her to make sure that you were voting together at that point? Because
we'd had conversations in bigger groups.
Yeah,
so in groups, we'd kind of said who we were voting for at the John vote, at the Todd vote. But we had no one-on-ones.
Okay. I'm just confused why at that point she wouldn't just turn to you and be like, who am I voting for? If she doesn't know.
That's a good question. I think she maybe was looking to me to tell her, but I honestly like rocks, so I was fine with it going to 4-4. I wasn't that invested in like going, Bethany, you have to vote for Todd or else. I was fine for it to tie and for us all to draw rocks out of the bag. I thought that would have been fun.
I love that we're both toxic. We're just very different types of toxic.
What's my type of toxic?
You're like chaos demon twink toxic. You're like, I want to
rocks. Yeah, you clocked my tea.
All right. So, okay. So that's how Hot Toddy goes. Very emotional. For me, obviously, when I heard that he'd gone out. So after that, like in your mind, are you planning to go to the end with Bethany, or have you been like, look, love you girly pops, but you're a threat. I'm jumping on the Oscar Pauline Sab bandwagon?
Yeah, so I didn't want to go, oh, hey, Josh. I didn't want to go to the end with Bethany at all, because if I had gone to Final Tribal Council, there's not a single thing I could say I did that Bethany couldn't say that she did better. I found the idol. Bethany would be like, cool, I told him to look there. I could be like, oh, you know, I helped get John out. Bethany could be like, cool, I'm the one that convinced Loz in our conversation. I could be like, I survived this whole time, and Bethany would be like, I survived the whole time, and I was never targeted except for that one random vote. Like, it just felt like there was nothing I could say that she couldn't say that she done better. I thought she had the best game of everyone. So yeah, I never wanted to sit next to Bethany.
You're both such queens. So hot Toddy's out. Who goes out next?
What's happening? Loz goes out next. So
okay. Talk to me about this one.
Loz was very adamant that Bethany and I needed to come back with her and Ed and 4-3 out Oscar or Sab. Sab won immunity, so she wanted us to vote out Oscar. I didn't think I could afford to vote out Oscar. I thought I needed to sit next to Oscar and Pauline at the end. And so I thought my only option here is to vote for Loz. Bethany, however, did not agree. She did not want me to vote for Loz, and she worked very hard to try to get Oscar to be the vote. She was really, really pushing, really, really trying. In the end, it didn't work. I voted Loz, and so did Ed. Ed decided that he thought Loz was a sinking ship, and so he flipped as well. So there were 5 of us voting for Loz, 2 votes for Oscar, which was Bethany and Loz. And I just felt like it was a really hard vote to do because Loz had saved me 3 rounds in a row. It was really like the first one where I was the dickhead. I just was like, sorry, girl, you've taken me as far as I want.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's going to lock in Loz's vote for Bethany then. I love that they stayed loyal, but also that was so the right move. Loz was clearly, you know, she was the godfather. Right. So how then are you and Bethany still sticking around? Like, why are Oscar, Pauline, and Ed and Sap not turning around and being like, well, Bethany and Eden clearly bigger threats than us?
Great question. I think we had some good threat level management, some really good intentionality in bringing down the way we were presenting and how strategic we were. Bethany forged really strong relationships, especially with Pauline. They became really tight. And I sort of presented, like, my strategy was out there, but I kind of presented myself as a little bit of like a ditz. Like, oh, I'm just going to do this. And like, I was really out there in the open. I was kind of hiding in plain sight with everything I was doing. I don't think people saw me as that intelligent, even though I was doing everything. I wasn't bringing my analysis and all that I was bringing to the confessionals to the game.
But I mean, the fact that the pair of you survived, the fact that you'd managed to flip Loz, wild. I guess in your favor, Ed's the last straight man standing at this stage? Was he going to single-handedly take you down, Eden?
No, and at this point, Ed actually thought that he should go to the end with me. He thought he wanted to go with me and Pauline because he didn't think the jury were going to respect me. I think he saw me as kind of like, who's that good comparison? Like Sash from Nicaragua or like Albert from South Pacific. I think he saw that I was playing that kind of sleazy game. That's what his perception was.
Sleazy Eden. That's kind of hot though.
You have my vote, Eden. You're a star. You play the best game.
Yeah, we fucking love you, Ed. You're amazing. I mean, I knew you'd be amazing, and I'm yet to watch more of your amazingness, which I promise I will actually watch. Which will be the first LRG episodes I've not watched out of obligation, and that's out of love. Okay, so we vote out Loz. Wild. They're still not flipping on the pair of you at this point. Yeah. So is this where we go turn on Sab?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier how I kind of intentionally put votes on Sab at the final 8, even though I didn't vote for her, to heighten her threat level. She then wins immunity at the final 7. And by the final 6, she's come first or second in every single individual challenge since the merge. So
where's Pauline? So does she go out before Pauline then here? She goes after Loz?
She goes after Loz. She comes 6th. It's unanimous because Oscar and Pauline are at the point where they think, we can't beat Sab. People think we're Sab's goat.
That is why obviously you're not watching the same show I was watching because you're not watching the show, you're participating in it. But it is incredible that you and Bethany managed to paint the picture that way. That is absolutely amazing. Okay, so she's won a whole bunch of immunities. Now we're down. Now I know that something wild is this. You make it into the final episode though.
Yeah,
I know
something
wild. Yeah. So who go then? Does Pauline go out after Sab?
She does not.
Who? You? No, who?
It's me.
So you're idled out or something? Or there some kind of scandal happened here? Like they couldn't just take you down with a single, it required a full nuclear task force. So what happened? Talk to me.
Yeah, so Pauline, by the way, found an idol at the John Tribal Council when John went home. She found it under the voting booth.
Oh, yes, I remember this. Yes,
that's important. Keep it for later. So she found that idol. She's had that idol the whole time, and she is she's trying to play the most under the radar game she can because she wants to sit at the end. She thinks it's pointless to not make it to the end for being so visible. That's kind of the game she's been playing. That's what she's been openly saying. And she's tossing up between whether she wants to use the idol or whether she wants to save it for final tribal council and Marianne it. So that's what we've got going here. At the final 5, Ed wins immunity. He smashes us like completely. Yeah. We all sucked.
I mean, there's quads, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we didn't stand a chance. And then he asked who wants to go on reward. The reward is like you get to share a jar of cookies. And I, very Angelina Keeley, was like, me. And then he took me. I thought there'd be an idol clue in the cookies. There was nothing.
Obviously. Wow.
And while we're talking, Ed is like, I want to go to the end with you and Pauline. Let's take out Oscar this vote.
Hot.
In the meantime, I'm thinking in my head, this is the time to take out Bethany. Ed's won immunity. I need Bethany gone. I have to sit against Oscar and Pauline. I don't really have another choice. So I went with that plan. That's the plan I thought we had. And Oscar, Pauline, and I had actually solidified an alliance. We were called the Goats Alliance.
They think you're a goat. That is so funny.
Something I forgot to add, I was voted least deserving to win in the touchy subjects. And that like thrilled me. I was like, great, I can weaponize this. I can use this. I can get to the end because I think people are not seeing me as a threat. This
is so wild. I don't understand how you like whatever someone's perception of you is at any point in this game is so wildly incorrect. Like when you have literally no friends, everyone's like, oh my God, Eden, he's so sneaky and so threatening. We've got to go for Eden. And you're like, okay, here's me and like my literally one friend over here. And then we get to this stage where it's like very clear and obvious that you and Bethany have played the absolute best games. And they're like, oh my God, Eden, he's so like sleazy and kind of gross. Like, ew, what the fuck? What?
Well, so that's how I saw it. That's what I thought. But little did I know is that at this point, Oscar and Pauline have thought, actually, Eden is a bigger threat than Bethany. Actually, we should get him out. Because they couldn't vote for Ed, so they weren't going to vote for each other at this stage. So I was thinking that they saw the game like I did, and they thought Bethany was a bigger threat than me. But no, they thought I was a bigger threat than Bethany. And so when I got back to camp, I had a conversation with Bethany. Bethany's like, we need to vote out Oscar. Like it's got to be Oscar so we can get to the final 4 together. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Bethany, sweet. That's what I'm doing. No, I wanted Bethany gone. I had a conversation with Oscar and I was like, are we doing Bethany? Oscar's like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, sweet. Obviously, we're doing Bethany. She's the biggest threat. And I had a conversation with Oscar and Pauline together for like a very quick, brief one. And we locked in Bethany. I was like, cool. The conversation was really brief, and I didn't notice that was a red flag because I thought it was so obvious we're all taking Bethany out that we didn't even really need to confirm it that much. Like, there was no other move. So we get to Tribal. I'm seated next to Pauline, and I realize, I never had a conversation one-on-one with Pauline. Like, what if she actually wants to vote out Oscar? Like, I didn't actually make it clear, like, together, because I thought me and Pauline are deciding who's going home.
Yeah.
So I whisper to Pauline and I go, you're voting for Bethany, right? Like me and me and Oscar and you were going to vote for Bethany. And Pauline just tenses, and she looks at me and she's like, "What?" She's like, "Wait, who's voting Bethany?" Like, me, you, and Oscar. And she doesn't say anything, and then she starts whispering to Bethany. And I'm like, "Fuck, what have I done?" Meanwhile, the rest of tribal's going on. Like, I get a tribal question, and Dan and Liv are like, "What do you think of this?" And I'm just looking and I'm seeing the two girls talking. I'm like, ladies first. But they're still whispering. Bethany then goes and whispers to me, and she's like, "Are we still together?" And I'm like, "Yes." Anyway, there was that whole kerfuffle. We go up to vote, and then this is the climax of my arc and the climax of the episode for me, is that I'm in the voting booth, I'm looking for the idol, and I find the remains of the paper that covered Pauline's idol, which was crazy.
Oh my God, it's like seeing the footprints of the serial killer and you know he's in the house.
Yeah, so yes, exactly like that. My heart skips a beat. I'm like, fuck, someone's got an idol. Someone's not been telling the truth. People are lying to me, and I feel like I'm about to get played. But in my head, I thought, Bethany surely has it. Like, I think a lot of people, myself included, assume that the biggest threat always has the idol. But I thought, I've been broadcasting, I'm about to vote for Bethany. And Bethany had told me she'd searched the voting booth for an idol a couple times. So I was like, surely she found it. So I'm like, I can't go through with my Bethany vote. But if I go through with an Oscar vote, like, that might send him home. And I need Oscar to sit with me at the end. So I threw my vote at Pauline. I didn't think anyone was going to vote for Pauline. I thought, either way the idol goes, like, I can cover my ass and say that I split the vote or something.
This is so wild. Yes.
I thought it was brilliant. Anyway, we get back to tribal. They go, if anyone has an idol they like to play it, now be the time to do so. And who gets up but Pauline? I was gagged, really.
You're literally gagged. But no one else is voting for Pauline, right?
No one's voting for Pauline except me. But I just thought she she had played such an under the radar game intentionally the whole game. Yeah. I underestimated her because of her actions. She did so well. And at the last minute, she's come out to play. And she plays the idol for Oscar. Which means that Bethany's vote and Ed's vote, they voted for Oscar. They don't count. Then you've got my vote for Pauline.
I thought Ed was with you to vote for Bethany.
Sorry, no. Ed refused to vote for Bethany. He said Oscar's a bigger threat. I couldn't get him in. Okay. So he and Bethany voted for Oscar, but I thought it doesn't matter because I've got Oscar and Pauline. I didn't actually have Oscar and Pauline. They voted for me. I voted for Pauline. So a 2-2-1, but both Oscar votes negated, and I was sent to the jury.
Oh my gosh. That is so wild. Like, was there anything you could have done there in that stretch leading up to it? Like, or do you feel like your goose was kind of cooked? Because it sounds like Bethany and Pauline were really tight and that had a lot to do with it.
That did. I think they really wanted to go to the end together. But I think in the moment, there's one thing I could have unintentionally done. And I could have told Pauline, me and Ed were voting for Bethany instead of me and Oscar, because she didn't know how Ed was voting. I think if I'd said that, she'd have played an idol on Bethany and I would have been safe.
Yes.
But that was unintentional. That wouldn't have been the result of good gameplay. I think my demise was part of a larger underlying problem, or two underlying problems. One was that I saw the game how I saw the game, and I didn't think about how other people saw the game. I just thought, we all know Bethany's the biggest threat.
Because she is. You weren't incorrect. Yeah.
When I got that idol, I thought, it's real. It can't be anything but an idol, but it was a special idol. There's lots of assumptions I just made and ran with across the whole game, and that was my downfall. And the other thing was my storyline. The penultimate episode is called The Advantage Peasant, which is what I called myself, because I used to be an advantage king, finding idols and stuff, and I got into the point where I had nothing. And that was a lapse in savviness for me. I should have found that idol 4 tribal councils before I did. I should have checked under the moment I was there. And I should have, at the auction, bid on the croissant, because I should have known that was a clue. So those were stupid lapses in judgment from me, who should have known better.
I don't think that you can be hard on yourself for not knowing the stale croissant was a clue and then, like, not finding the idol before the person with the clue did. Like, babes, let's cut yourself some slack
Dan
here.
salivated over that croissant. He went on about how it's a Canberra tradition. Eden's like the one person in the cast who actually watched Canberra before. He should have been on. He knew about Dom and the croissants. He knew what Dom did to those croissants, and he knew there was something. And the way Dan kept going on about how stale it was, Eden knows it's his one regret. I get it.
Yeah, I was stupid, and in the moment, I was like, I don't fucking want to eat a croissant.
Yeah.
I don't
want to eat stale croissant. Okay. All right. Yeah. So then, yada, yada. No one cares about the rest except for the finale because you're not there anymore. So we can fast forward from the beginning of the finale to the end. Obviously, you're going to vote for Bethany.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer. Bethany wins. So.
Do you know how she wins?
No.
It was a very split decision by the jury. It was.
What?
She only got 4 of the votes.
No.
Yeah. So she got 4 of the votes, Ed got 2, and Oscar got 2.
I mean, I love that for the other 2. At least they got some votes. Do you know what I mean? No one likes to not get any votes. So at least they got some. But really, only 4?
Yeah, when I got to the jury, I realized people didn't have the same perception of Bethany as I did. I had to tell people, Bethany found my idol. Bethany got John voted out the first time. Like, lots of stuff that people were just attributing to me was Bethany's gameplay. And I think part of that was that I was playing more visibly, but part of that is also sexism. People don't always see what the women do when they're in a male-female pairing.
Wow. Oh my, well, lucky for her that you did get to the end.
Yeah.
Not the end, but like the jury at the end.
Yeah. I think what happened is Pauline was on her side when Pauline joined the jury. Because Bethany was the one person that didn't vote Pauline out.
Yeah.
So Pauline was voting for her. I was voting for her. Lauren had a tough time deciding between the 3, but ultimately, once she made up her mind, it was going to be Bethany. She didn't respect the other 2's games.
Yeah. Wow.
And then, so she won. There was a swing vote that she won, and that was Aiden.
Yeah.
And that was the vote that kicked her over the line and got her to win the game.
Oh my gosh, that's so wild. So Lauren was there and bore witness to Bethany's power. She wasn't a locked-in vote.
Lauren thought Bethany had voted her out until I got to the jury and told her that was Ed, not me. Not her.
Okay. All right. I mean, in fairness, I'm also salty, so I understand. Relatable.
Yeah.
Did you have fun? Yeah. Was it the time of your life?
I had so much fun, so much more fun than I thought I would. I was just grateful to have had the opportunity. I thought there was a high chance I'm a first boot or like going home pre-merge. And even if that's the case, I'll have enjoyed the experience. But I got so much more than I thought I would. I made an amazing alliance, found an idol, found an advantage, flipped votes, like did all sorts of crazy things. So I had such a fun run.
You're such a dreamboat. And you know what? I hope you do get on The Real Survivor because you'd be brilliant and you can be forgiven for unfollowing me on Twitter for that reason. The only controversy, I wish we could have got someone here for you to fight with, but you're so lovable who would fight with you. So I had to do it myself. Is that CK entering? No.
Yeah.
It's like a bad smell that lingers around. Yes, Doll?
Well, it sounds like you're wrapping it up. We need to celebrate the greatness that Eden brought as the people's champion. When I spun that wheel and offered these drinks, it could have spun up all sorts of people that went absolutely 0 places in this game. I could have spun up Jay. No offense to Jay. That would have been the most disappointing outcome. And I just want to thank Luck and the Survivor gods for spinning such a great character. It wasn't because we also could have spun a power player, but it was up and down. You were in danger. You were fighting. Like whether you would survive week on week was always up for grabs. So that made the People's Champion concept so spectacular.
Oh, and you were the true People's Champion. Like the people were gagged. The people were obsessed.
I was so gagged. First of all, when I was picked, I was like, I had watched that podcast late, so I'm like, did they pick me last? Was I the last person?
That was my reaction.
And then I saw how they did it. I'm like, oh, okay, no, this is fine. And then it was like, oh, if he makes the final 3, we'll get drinks. So we're all bagging on Pauline in the chat that night. We're like, how could you have done this? You cost us our drinks. And then later in the season, CK, you changed it, and you were like, if he makes the final 5, and we were like, yeah. We were so happy.
I love that. We're not wrapping it up right now, CK, because we've got the all important question. With your privileged position on the tea party, you get to make a pitch to the people as the people's champion. Who should we be voting for the Orca of the season? Now, if you need reference, the Orca needs to we have the Orca Award every season, people, and it's who best meets the following 3 criteria. And this is, I will have everybody know, an honor and a privilege, okay? CK and I, both Orcas, we're arm wrestling to be the Orca of Melbourne season 3. So this is not a slight on someone. Everyone wants to be the Orca. So the first, loud and proud. You have to have rubbed somebody the wrong way, if not in the first episode, at least within the first couple of episodes, because you just can't keep your mouth shut, and it's not always what everyone agrees with. Number 2, propensity for narcissism. So you need to be talking yourself up in confessionals. Yeah, I'm the puppet master. I've got the game under control. Okay, that's number 2. And number 3 is strong arming strategy. So that's, the absolute best way. Your strategy is always the right strategy. And everybody has to go along with your plan. So I'd like you to pitch to the audience, who do you think is the Orca of the season? And why should we vote for them? It can be you, it can be somebody else.
I was listening to everything you said, and I think I did do all 3 of those things, but I don't think I can wear the title of Orca because I was not the most Orca. I think, without a doubt, that's Loz. Loz, within the first 2 episodes, her whole tribe were like, we don't trust Loz. But it doesn't matter. In every confessional, she's like, I'm the most brilliant person ever. And she was. She strong-armed the strategy. At the John vote, she was like, all right, guys, you're voting this way. At the Aiden vote, she was like, all right, guys, you're voting this way. She just kept doing it. And she thought she was God's gift to Survivor. And she actually is.
She was amazing. You know what? CK and I were chatting about this the other night, and we both agree that Loz was the Orca of the season. Not many women make it to be Orca when we have the all Orca Viva. It may just be Loz and I and 16 men, but Loz, it'll be great to have you there.
Yeah, it's definitely Loz. I can't think of a better person to represent the Orca.
Oh, and Eden, once again, showing us why he is the people's champion, delivering it to a deserving woman. So we love you, Eden.
Of course.
Is there anything else that we haven't covered from the season that you really wanted to get off your chest?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'll say I was shocked at I was shocked by sometimes how lazily sometimes people would play the game. I was shocked that people wanted to pagong at times. I was shocked that people wanted to do unanimous votes. The only unanimous votes I was a part of was when my name was the other name. Otherwise, I tried to make them as fun and dynamic as possible. I thought people were coming into the game with the same mindset as me, and that's like, let's just have fun. It's 2 days. You're not getting an extra, lifetime of experience out there by surviving an episode. You're getting an extra hour.
Baby girls, this isn't for $1 million. This is for the entertainment of fellow nerds. So let's be kind.
Exactly. That shocked me. I want to shout out my women's alliance of me, Bethany, Maddie, and Anthea. I'm still friends with all of them. I still speak to all of them. I love them. And it was so amazing to build that and so heart-wrenching to have it destroyed. But somewhat healed when we got Bethany to win the season. That was beautiful. I think Bethany had one of the best games ever. Phenomenal game. And I think if someone doesn't see that, I think you should look inwards and think, why are you not seeing it?
Bethany, flawed. When I heard that Bethany had won and I didn't even get to see the end game, I was like, oh my gosh, like Dan must be over the moon, because when do you ever get like such a good winner in your LRG?
Yeah. Well, the answer is Ma as well.
Yeah, obviously all the time in Canberra. So that's so rude.
Canberra's been pretty lucky.
Yeah.
No shade to any other.
Love that for you.
A lot of shade on all the others.
I didn't hear what he said.
I didn't hear either. But that's
Eden
okay.
said no shade on the others, but that was a lot of shade on all the other LRGs right there.
Well, I'm just saying, like, normally when you play a mini, like, I'm not even just talking about the live games. Like, when you're playing a mini or like or an org or anything like that, like, because everyone's such huge fans and we're all such big fans, you do just vote out the big, loud, strong players early. And, you know, Bethany was a big power player who was making moves from the frickin' pre-merge. How often do you get someone who's been making moves the whole way through the game to the end in any kind of nerd Viper? You don't, because we're all out there to win and we recognize the threats and we take them out.
That's what was beautiful about our season. I loved, particularly for our season, everyone had a narrative, everyone had a story arc. I would, throughout the season, I did confessional time tracking, I did visibility, I did edgic, just like trying to track it all, even though I was spoiled on the result. It was fun. And for the final 5, I had narratives mapped out. Mine was about overcoming obstacles, which I failed to do in the finale. Pauline's was about flying under the radar, which in the finale, she fails to do. She comes out as the big threat and she's swiped before the end. Ed's was about learning strategy. And in his final speech, he doesn't credit enough of his learned strategy or showcase enough of it to the jury to win their votes. Oscar's was about gaining respect. And the question was, will he gain the respect? And the answer was no. He didn't sit next to the right people to gain that respect from the jury. And Bethany's was about empowerment and coming from having nothing in the game and feeling all that frustration. Oh, there's a really good speech about what it's like to be a woman playing Survivor in the final 7 episode. So you should watch that. You'll really like it, at Tribal Council. Facilitated by Bethany. But then she wins. She overcomes the odds. She becomes empowered and she wins. And that was a great way to cap off the season.
It was such a well-edited season. It was such a well-edited season as well. Oh, beautiful. Well,
hats off to Dan.
Oh, this has been an absolute delight, a true dream come true, my babes. It feels like we've had a million of these chats before, but we probably haven't.
This is our first time like face to face.
This is wild to me. This is literally wild to me. I feel like there's so many times in so many things. Like maybe you're just playing a mini or something and you're like, I'm playing this. And I'm like, yeah, like we have been best friends forever. But no, this is the first time we're even having a conversation.
Yeah. And just want to say thank you to you for doing this. I loved this. I loved all the times you were on the podcast. And then thank you to Danny and Jules. Loved week after week hearing everything they had to say. And most of all, thank you to CK. You put so much into this and it's really appreciated, like what you do. Like we really appreciate it.
We love you, CK.
I'm back with those special words. That is very special, Eden. Like I know how much you hate straight men from the start of your interview at Canberra Survivor. So to overcome those odds makes me feel very special. Actually, Eden has been amazing. Eden has really like taken his stardom from this season and pushed himself into a bigger place in this community. Eden, for those that don't know, was the mastermind, I believe, behind the Canberra Survivor Wiki, which is incredible. And now, with the assistance of his friend Jaden, have started making a wiki for all of the LRGs, which is coming along. And when finished, will be amazing. But it's an amazing skeleton right there. And if you if you're on an LRG, if you want to go write your own profile, like I think I will start. I'm going to go do my own profile at some point.
I love that you're going to have the most fleshed out profile.
But if anyone needs help with it, DM me. I'm happy to help you edit or do anything. If you've got questions, please come to me.
But we love that passion. We love people bringing that passion to the community, new entrants to the community, trying to make it better. That's all we're trying to do here. So I very much value what you've done in every aspect. You've been such an enthusiastic supporter of the season and our
he
show.
is as well. He really is a whole package, CK. Look at you, Eden. He's so handsome. My son, he's so beautiful.
Oh,
it's my genetics.
And of course, we have one bit of coverage to come. On Wednesday, we will be announcing the Orca of the season. Which player will join the Congress of Orcas? Just to clarify, moving forward, through our LRG rank down, we have had the people put like a tiny bit of a vote, and then a group of us have determined who is the Orca of each season. Moving forward, the votes will be made by those of us that participated in the podcast, Annabel, Jules, Danny, and myself. And we have called out to the Congress of Orcas the former 8 that have been determined as Orcas of their season. If they happen to watch, they will have submitted their votes. So tune in on Wednesday to find out who is the Orca of Canberra Survivor Season 3. Then we'll also have a catch-up with Dan, possibly live subject to availability, and wrap up the show. There'll be a lot of gushing for Dan and his edit and the amazing job he did because it was great. But, there'll be a lot of that and everything accompanying with that. Then, if you just got nothing else to do on your Wednesday night, the show will stop and then a new show will begin as we enter into a new era of LRGs as we take on Backyard Survivor 5. There will be a live draft immediately following the Canberra show. A new People's Champion will be determined. I will be committing to flying to Perth and doing drinks, I suppose, in Perth.
You sound so happy about it.
The People's Champion of Perth, whomever that is determined to be, wins. I hope Eden is there supporting the Perth Backyard 5 People's Champion. But we will be back again with that coverage. As the Backyard guys are just so keen to push out their product, they're just rolling on through Christmas. We're going to be doing a show on Boxing Day. We're going to be doing a show on the 2nd of January because this show is not stopping. It is out and proud, and it's going to... But Backyard is the Orca of shows. They don't give a fuck about your Christmas holiday plans. The show is coming out. They certainly don't care about mine. So the podcasting will be coming out.
Do not call me if you need a fill-in. I am not available.
I haven't even bothered, Annabelle. I can't pay your special, holiday rate. Danny and Jules will be there with me for those Christmas sessions. New Year's Day sessions. I think it's the 2nd I'm going to do one. But we're rolling right into that. So I am so excited that we're going back to back with 2 fantastic seasons. I'm just assuming one well is going to be good because you know what Kyle and Brian used to always talk to you.
Yeah, stunning. Woo!
It can't be bad. Not with the cast they put out so far.
I've actually watched none of the cast. I'll be doing a cram tomorrow in anticipation of my draft. What I really like about the cast so far is they all have really interesting names.
They do.
Which, Eden, you're a part of. You must be so pleased to have finally got your name so out there in a verbal form that everyone now knows how to pronounce your name.
I'm really glad because I never get it pronounced right. You saw Andrew and John getting it wrong even on day 2. So...
Your name is now so out there in a verbal form that everyone actually knows how to say it.
They weren't part of the cuddle puddle. What would they know?
Exactly.
It felt like the people that were least connected with you were the ones that were least concerned with getting your name right, which is a good strategy to determine who actually gives a shit about you.
Shout out to Pauline. She corrected everyone in every single conversation, so she's real.
Sadly, Pauline couldn't make it tonight. It would have been lovely to have her here, but also we respected her for not having better things on. And for anyone else that couldn't make it, we understand. Thank you, Eden, for coming on. Thank you, Annabelle. Making this match happen is why I exist. It's such a lovely combination. I'm shocked to find out Caitlin actually watches the show on a regular basis. She wasn't just here for Eden.
No, that was a lie. That was a lie, CK. That was a lie.
Caitlin's one of my best friends.
Do you think she's watched the show before, Eden, or was this the first time?
I know she's seen something.
I don't think she even stayed for this full interview.
She didn't stay she's in Japan at the moment, actually.
Oh, interesting.
She actually texted me halfway through saying, I've got to go to dinner, but it was nice.
Was she one of your best friends before you being involved in this community? Tell us about the Caitlin-Eden relationship.
We met playing Outcast Season 1 in lockdown in 2020, and since then we've been really good friends. She told me that she had such a good time playing with fire, and that's what inspired me to actually apply for Season 2.
You in the Poetry Viewing Lounge, Eden.
Yeah.
Because Liz and Laurel also played that season, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, I voted Liz out.
Annabel, is that what you played, Outcast, or did you play something else, Perjury? They're connected somehow.
Yes.
Similar. Same community.
Very exciting.
All right, everybody. Let's take this into the back room because baby girl wants to have a post-gym Marg and Marg shower.
All right, just hold on. We're going to play the song. You may dance if you like.
Okay. Oh, I like that.